Hello, and welcome to Reynaud's YouTube channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about our custom layout building and design department. And uh, Basically, this video is going to cover our briefcase layouts that we're currently building. And, we offer a different variety of briefcase layouts in Z gauge and an N scale. And we hired Thorsten here. Thorsten is our newest employee. And Thorsten moved here from Texas, and he's a professional model railroader. And he's the gentleman that is building these beautiful custom briefcase layouts. We have a few already built in Z gauge. He recently built one in N scale, which we will show you. But I will introduce you to Thorsten here, and Thorsten will tell you a little bit more about these beautiful custom briefcase layouts that we're building.
Hi. As Ray mentioned, I'm a relatively new employee here at Reynauld Zero Imports and was brought on for my model making skills. I have a little training in woodworking and 30 plus years as a scenery designer for the entertainment industry. And I'm now bringing those skills here to Reynaud's in the custom layout department, but also in my spare time when I go home from work, I enjoy making my own layouts. And I'd like to present one of those here to you today. There are a couple more that I've made as well. So I typically start, as most modelers do, with an idea. And after a little research and looking into how other modelers do their craft and lots of trial and error, eventually come up with a solution that meets the eye test. And in this case, I started with the notion of wanting to design a small German town with walls and vines, and was also clued into MBZ structures, which I'd never worked with before. And so I wanted to incorporate some of those into this layout because of their texture and attention to detail. Some of those made it onto the layout, and due to some delays in shipping, some did not. So I ended up custom building about 6 structures on my own. One of the aspects when designing something like this is to go and do some research. And so with that in mind, I went to the internet and looked for photos of German medieval towns with walls and found some on Rothenburg that I really liked. So I use those as a guide whenever I'm creating to help me discern how to lay things out, the color palette, what kind of structures to include, what sort of details to look for. So there's some sense of realism to the project rather than creating it all out of my head. Given the small size of Z-scale and N-scale kind of briefcase and suitcase size layouts, there's only so much you can do with the track and the operation, so the scenery becomes that much more important, which is my specialty. And so I make sure then to give equal attention to all aspects of the design, from the landscaping to the structures, to the paint techniques, even to the lighting aspects. There's a few comments that I'd like to make generally about my craft and work on these Z-scale layouts that will be marketed on the Reynaud's website and also shown for display on Markland Days. One is the attention I give to texture. I feel texture is extremely important when working with a scale such as this, because it really activates the eye and generates a lot of visual interest rather than items that are just left flat. Another aspect to my work in particular are the cases. I like to make wooden cases to store all these layouts in. Not only do they serve a storage purpose, but they're intended to be mobile and move around. So a couple of pins have been put inside to help keep things from rattling around. And then the last aspect of the case is it can also serve as a type of dais or platform on which to display the layout. To give it a little more visual weight, a little more elevation, and I enjoy the wood tones that kind of remind me of this sense of nostalgia and the old craft of woodworking, where things were made by hand rather than by machine. So one of the final comments I'd like to make about just the design of a layout are transitional spaces and how one blends choices from starting with the train and the track all the way through to a station or structure. So it's thinking about what organically and logically makes sense as to the choice of plants and foliage, grasses, open spaces, crowded spaces, walkways, railings, even down to the figures, and creating little mini scenes so your eye has a place to engage and also places to rest. So now I'd like to show you a few video clips that I took along the way about my process in how I look at the layout itself and its development, starting with the track work, landscaping, structures, lighting, and details.
The layout is built on a wooden tray, 22 inches long, 16 inches wide, and 1.5 inch deep, and it's to be stored in this 6-inch deep wooden case. I'm using Rokuhan track with built-in roadbed in order to avoid the mess that loose ballast would make when the layout is being carried vertically in its case. And the pink sheet of 1/4 inch thick foam is the base of the landscaping. I've embedded the Rokuhan track in a 1/4 inch thick layer of foam so as to cancel out the height of the built-in roadbed. I would have attached Marklin track without built-in roadbed, but Rokuhan turnouts have a cleaner look than Marklin turnouts. Here is the completed Rotenberg Z-scale briefcase size layout. The ground cover consists of scraps of grass mat made by MBR, broken up by 2mm grass tufts from bush. If there is enough interest, I'll cobble together another such video for my next project, which is an N-scale suitcase size layout I'm going to call Neufundhafen, or Newfound Harbor. I desired to model a small wharf and was attracted to this image of houses on a hill overlooking the water. Planning to develop the waterfront further with a few coastal related structures like a dock, boat shed, and lighthouse. And the hill will require a tunnel for the circular track to go through. The layout is being built on a wooden tray 30 inches long by 22 inches wide, and will be stored in this 8-inch deep wooden case. I'm using this Marklin transformer that has a permanent cord, so I'm incorporating this power inlet in order to have a detachable cord for cleaner storage. I've started the build by constructing a structure in the back for the tunnel, which can be accessed from below for track cleaning purposes, and also creates a space to store the cordage for the inlet, which can also be accessed from below in case anything needs to be changed out. I first primed everything with white gesso, which gives all surfaces a tooth or slight texture and provides subsequent layers of colored paint a consistent and unified look. To create the waves in the water, I covered the surface with a wrinkled toilet paper in a technique I picked up from a couple different modelers having channels on YouTube. Everything then received a base coat of color. Light gray for the rocks, dark gray for the woodwork, burnt sienna for the stonework, burnt umber for rusted metal and earth tones. Here is the completed Neufundhafen N-scale suitcase size layout. The deciduous trees and shrubs you see are a combination of products from AK, JTT, Silphor Miniature, and Woodland Scenics. All retaining walls are plaster casts, also from Woodland Scenics. The tunnel portals and seawall are from Juch. Steel quay wall is from Artitech. And the wood retaining wall is from Model Tech Studios. The design of this layout started with this diesel switcher by Minitrix. The locomotive has excellent low-end control, and the red color attracts the eye against the sea of green. With the harbor setting in mind, I decided early on to have the locomotive serve a warehouse and thus pull freight cars relevant to the fishing industry. And while these short video segments only add up to a few brief minutes, this project actually took 124 hours from start to finish. So to get started, I reviewed all the options of Z-scale structures at Reynolds.com and then went and found this image of a small village of Ramsau in the Bavarian Alps to use as inspiration. So I've ordered structures from Kibri and Thaler, and while I wait for those to arrive, I've started working on shaping the layout, which I'll cover more in my next segment. But this is at least to show where and how I got started. Fast forward 6 hours, and I'm almost done modifying the landscape. And following this photo for inspiration, I've planned on the church, alpine house, and stream to be primary scenic features. Other details I'll include are the footbridge, stonework, and the lush green color in the trees and grass. Here's a sketch I'm using as my plan. So I've reduced the 2 circles of track to just one in order to accommodate the stream. And I'm making the church and alpine house the primary structures and moving the station to the corner. Finally, I'm expanding the mountain to still have a tunnel because losing sight of the train momentarily is more visually interesting than continuously seeing the train go round in a circle. Here is the completed Ramsau Z-scale briefcase size layout. This project actually took 80 hours from start to finish. If there is enough interest, I'll cobble together another such video for my next Z-scale project.
So thank you for your attention. These are going to be for sale, and you can find additional information on them on the website. And we'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.